Cheers.
Cheers.
Today we're drinking Welch's Sparkling Red Grape Juice. Y'all know what it is.
Yes. I love that we've switched it up after our baby announcement.
Yes.
We're having a baby, so we can't drink alcohol.
Well, she.
But she...
Solidarity.
We
It's
love that.
solidarity.
I see that you all, they're not our sponsors, but I like your shirts that y'all are wearing today.
Come on, Beyonce.
In honor of our first episode, we don't talk about Beyonce. We do have our
Yes.
Beyonce shirts today.
Full circle moment. Well, let's go to break and we will be back. Let's go ahead and grab our favorite clipboards right
Oh,
next to
yes.
each other.
Don't get me in trouble today.
All right, so as we know, you all are with child, as they say in the Bible.
Having a whole baby.
So we got a couple of questions for you, okay?
Yes.
It has to do with this topic this week. All right, so while pregnant, which partner wants sex more?
Okay.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Husband until second trimester. And
Women.
he said the women. Really?
What?
Okay. Put the boards down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we're going to explore that. Theresa, why would you say until the second trimester?
Because the first trimester, if you're like me right now, you're nauseous. You are so nauseous. Like, you're lethargic. You're literally a bodybuilder. You're building a whole baby in there. So you're just tired and nauseous. And you don't want to be touched. But second trimester, you're like flying high. Like, you're no longer lethargic. Your belly starts to round out, so it doesn't just look like a food baby anymore. And yeah, that's when you're really like, you get more hot and bothered. Third trimester, you get to a point where you're just so fat, like you can't see your feet anymore. And you're just like, I just want this to be done.
Get this baby out of me.
I'll say that's like, pregnancy sex is like kind of the best sex. It's just waterfalls. But to answer the question, answer the question, I would say women, like men, we probably have our same sex drive, higher or lower sometimes depending on like testosterone and things like that. But also men, we kind of feel bad sometimes because our partners, they're pregnant, they got a baby inside them. We see everything that they're going through. And so sometimes that kind of turns us off from like really pushing how we want to. But women, hey, like we taking it.
So quick question, all right?
I don't feel like that's true at all.
My question is this. Oh, this is not awkward. But no, for real. My question is this. So, you as a man, is there ever a point where you're like, I don't want to hurt her because she's pregnant?
Yeah, when that belly get big, and it's really, you can see the baby moving inside the belly. It's a mental thing. You gotta, it's a mental thing.
Like an alien
It's a mental thing. Like, she got to get on top, whereas it's only limited amount of positions that you can really get into. And
that's kind of creepy. Like this belly, just like.
But it's, but still, like it's a baby in there, so it's tough.
Okay, I thought it was.
Okay, it's tough. It's tough.
Some men will not have sex with their pregnant wives because they are so like grossed out by the idea. I really think that's more like a first time dad issue because like it seems like to the second baby like
I don't have no issue.
You're just a freak-a-leak, and we all know that.
I don't have an issue.
So
you did have issues when I got to my third trimester, and I was really big.
Like issues as far as like
you're like, I don't want to hit the baby in the head.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. So thank you. I didn't know how to say it.
It's like physically impossible.
Okay.
Like, you can't, there's not a large enough.
They clipping that.
That's a good
one.
one.
To have to hit the baby. Like, you gotta go real far up. Because, like, to think about in perspective, the baby has moved the woman's ribs. Okay. So, like, they are flying high up in here. So, like, the likelihood of you hitting the baby is, like, really unlikely. Highly unlikely.
So we all got educated to start this off, all right? So today we're talking about pregnancy. We're talking about marriages and, you know, when the baby's on the way, the husband starts to stray. Yeah. So if you're telling me that sex drive is still high during pregnancy, then why are men straying away during pregnancy?
Now, to be clear, everybody is different. So everybody's pregnancy is different. Some people are nauseous the whole time. So for 9 months of just, and I don't mean like, oh, I'm a little queasy. I mean like, I want to curl over and not do anything nauseous. So some women have that for the full 9 months. Absolutely miserable. Some women have a lot of complications during their pregnancy. Miserable. So you may not have any type of drive if you're having a bunch of complications, if you're having multiples, if like there's so many other factors where you may not have a high sex drive.
I think it's bigger than sex. From conversations that I've had with men and different things, I think that women, first off, they're pregnant. So they probably don't want to be touched. And it comes down to affection. And so, like, if you're used to getting that type of affection from your spouse, that, affirmation, that love, that cuddling, a lot of times that might be cut off because they might be, nauseous, not feeling well. And so and as a man, sometimes you feel bad because you want that. Like, you've impregnated this woman. She's carrying your child. She's going through all this. She still have to live a normal life by feeling the way that she feel. Mm-hmm. And you feel bad because, I still have needs. So in your mind, sometimes you will convince yourself like, man, instead of me troubling my wife, I might go somewhere else to get what I want. And it's horrible. It's bad, but we need to really have a conversation about it because this is real life.
Yeah. Like, you should not be straying from your marriage thinking that since your wife doesn't want to be touched, then it's cool to let somebody else touch on you. Like, that's never going to be acceptable.
And it's stress. So you look at it, you got the stress, pressure, anxiety of having a new child. Your entire life's about to change. You got your wife going through, or your partner going through so many different emotions, feelings, things that are going on with them. They don't want to be touched. You're not having, and then let's say if you have a spouse that's not really helping, like, yeah, she may not want to have intercourse with you, but it's other things that she can do to try to help you out. And she's not doing nothing. And so you're sitting there just stuck, upset, on fire, stressed out from work. At home is not peaceful. And if it's not peaceful at home, you're going to go somewhere where you find peace. And it's just a bad combination of things when you're supposed to be getting ready for something that's a good thing.
Is this something that, do you all have any, not saying cheating, but were there any issues during your first pregnancy when it came to sex?
No, my wife gives handies. So, like, I'm blessed man. I'm a blessed man. Like, you, I'm a blessed man. Like, like, everybody don't get that. Like, that's why I'm shocked when I have conversations like, yeah, she's pregnant, so we ain't having sex. Okay, so what are you doing? Nothing. So, like, I'm a simple man. Like, I have simple needs, and my wife takes care of them. So we were good. We were good.
Ladies, you have to do something. So I know that, like, a lot of women are like, okay, you're having a baby, you don't have to do anything. You're still a wife. Like, at the end of the day, you're still a wife. So you have, just the same way that you have to take your kids to daycare, you have to feed them and clothe them and, make sure they have all their needs met. We have mates, and we have made a lifetime commitment to our mate. So we have to make sure that we are fulfilling that need too. It's a part of your duty. So whether it's like via mouth, via hand, whatever,
something,
lay there like a fish do whatever you need to do, but like you've got to do your part.
And hold on,
because Shirley's waiting.
And hold on, and we got these men out here like, okay, your wife is pregnant, she's not feeling well, and she, it's late at night, she just might roll over like, okay, just do what you want, and you're complaining because she's not into it. Like she gave you consent, bro. Like you're acting
take what you can get.
Really brand new. She gave you consent. You better handle that.
All those men that are like, but she's got to actively participate. You the fool. You the one that's gonna be burning. Yes. Because you will burn. Okay. She does not feel like participating. She feels like trash right now. So you better take what you can get and go about your day. Like all that. Like, oh, she's gonna be so into it. Like, no, she's not into it. She's not. She just gave you, like, she's just letting you have your way so she can go about her day. Because again, you can't just like go weeks and weeks and not do anything for your husband. He's just gonna have a bad attitude. He's gonna be moping, and you don't have to deal with all of that. So just do something like hand, mouth, lady parts,
feet,
whatever, armpit.
So
give him the back of your knee. Like do something, ladies.
One thing that we've talked about a lot over the course of these weeks is communication. This is something that you all actively communicate during your relationship, and not just during pregnancy, but just in general when it comes to sex. Do you all have those conversations?
I think I had really good mentors when I was becoming a wife who were very honest with me about the sexual requirement duties of being a wife. And it's not something that people talk about all the time, especially if you have like church premarital counseling. They're not always saying, hey, this is the real deal. But like the real deal is like 3 to 5 times a week. That's the real deal. So like if you are like
3 to 5 times a week?
Yeah. Minimum.
Of something.
Okay. So like if you're like, oh yeah, like my sex drive is so high right now, it's because you're celibate. But like when it's 3 to 5 times, just you don't get to there's no days off. Like 3 to 5 times period, you're gonna have to do your duties, even on your lady time. Like you've got to have other forms where you're doing your duties. So like that's the reality, and they were very honest with me, and I appreciated that, because if you go into marriage understanding that this is a requirement, then it's less of a shock or burden later when your husband's like, oh, we haven't had sex in 2 months. Like, that's ridiculous.
I would say this too. We didn't really communicate that much about that topic. I don't think we knew what we were getting into when she got pregnant in regards to that topic. But it goes to a man doing the work before they get married. So marriage is not going to stop you from being a thought or being a hoe or having those passions. Marriage is not going to stop that. So if you weren't actively doing the work before you got married of like, you know what, I can control my hormones. I can control to my sex drive. I can control, who I want to have sex with, because it's a daily thing of you like killing your flesh. When you get married, that's a different level. And then when you have your wife getting pregnant, about to have a baby, that's a different level. So those are things that if you're doing that type of work, therapy, prayer, things like that, that you're doing to help yourself become a better person, your first instinct is not going to go sleep around. Your first instinct is like, you know what? We're having an issue. Let's have a conversation. I understand you're pregnant. I understand you're going through a whole lot. This is what I'm dealing with. Is it something that we can work on together? And that needs to be the conversation. This is somebody that you want to be with for the rest of your life. That needs to be the conversation.
And that really depends too, because like some men still masturbate. So like if they masturbate, then it's kind of a different situation. But like Ed does not masturbate.
So let's bring that up. I have to fight to not do that. So it's not like, oh, it's just not like, no, you get moments, you get weak moments. I've had weak moments where I slipped up, but it's like that's something that you have to kill. Again, killing your flesh every single day. It's like, yo, you'll feel stressed out, and you know that your wife probably just gave you something yesterday, so you're not gonna get some today. You might not get some tomorrow. So on schedule for 2 days from now for you to get some.
It's the ration.
Right. So you have that, and then you're like, okay, man, I'm really feeling horny. Like, all right, let me not put myself in situations where I know I might want to masturbate. Let me not, stay in the bed too long. Let me not try to, watch certain things. Let me not, swipe too much on stuff that I'm not supposed to be swiping on. Like, all right, let me take my butt to the gym. Let me go work on something. Let me go, do some type of work. You have to actively participate in yourself not falling into that. You know your weak spots. And I think we need to be really honest with ourselves, especially as men. We know our weak spots and what our trigger points is. For me, I know with masturbating, whatever it was, high anxiety moments. If I'm high stressful things going on, like either at work or in life and at home, those are like high stress moments. Like, all right, when I get in those moments, not being by myself, not, allow myself to dwell in those situations and then doing something else. See, like, why you getting out of bed at 4:00 in the morning? I love you. You ain't giving me no sex. I got to go to the gym. Like just stuff like that. Cause I'm like, hey, I'm shoot, it's about to be one. Gotta go.
So question, because obviously we approach things on this platform from a Christian standpoint and a biblical base, right?
Yes.
So since we're here, we're gonna knock down the door all the way. So we've already talked about about what we think about pornography, right? Biblically is bad.
Yeah.
Can one masturbate without watching pornography and say that they're thinking about their wife and that be okay?
No.
Yeah, I don't.
If that's
true, but it's like,
no, it don't matter who you're thinking about. It's the imagination that's dangerous.
You're imagining, then you're just gratifying your flesh. This again, we are one
it's
body.
Just lust.
We're one body. Okay. So if it's like, all right, we're doing stuff together. The bed chambers are undefiled. But if we're together and we're doing stuff that's different, I'm thinking about gratifying myself. I can say, I'm thinking about my wife. I could ask my wife to join me. I'm trying to gratify my flesh in that moment to satisfy my own personal needs. I have not even given no crap about her at that moment. So I can try to justify however what it is. That's just what it is.
Right.
So that's a great answer. Yeah, you guys need to have that conversation with each other.
He's really good on this topic.
That was a great answer.
And it's so good.
It's something I still fight with. We all have certain things that we're going to have to fight for the rest of our life. It's just what it is. We talked about body count. You don't have a body count like that and go through that and think like, oh yeah, I'm delivered. I'm 100% delivered. I'll never have to deal. No, I have to deal with that for the rest of my life of not acting like that, not doing that, not keeping my mind, because for decades, my body was used to doing whatever I wanted to do because I, didn't care.
That's your daily death.
It's daily death.
It says I think that was who Paul.
You could
you die daily.
You die daily. You're in that lifestyle. You having sex with whoever you want, but then you're masturbating too because it's like, all right, I still have so much gratification that I want to get, and it's not being just satisfied for other people. And so then when you get married, and that's why it's so hard for people to really think like, oh, how can I just be with one wife? Because you haven't allowed yourself to die. You have to die to that stuff. It's literally, and you'll be able to be with one person.
And I think too, like porn and even like we were talking about imagination, it's a door. Like you're opening up a door. And once you open up that door, it's hard to close it. So it's like, oh, I was thinking about my wife. And then, oh, I was thinking about my wife in a wig. Or I was thinking about my wife with bigger boobs. It's like, that's not your wife no more. No. So that's good. The truth is, it's an open door. And you're just going to allow yourself to walk through that door. And then before you know it, you're with Susie or a prostitute or whatever saying like, oh, it's just so that, I don't have to bother my wife. It's like, you're not doing that for her. Ultimately, that's for self.
She said it's a door, and then when you're actually intimate with your spouse, you're not going to be present with your spouse. You're going to be present with what you were doing and thinking about when you're by yourself.
Right.
Going to them websites.
Yeah. That imagination is dangerous.
Well, before we close out, I have a question for each of you. What would you say to a young couple watching here, and it's their first pregnancy? Mm-hmm. What advice, Ed, would you give to the man? And Theresa, what advice would you give to the woman?
Oh, I like this.
For the man, I would just say be present. I think when we first got pregnant, the first few months, I was physically present. I wasn't mentally present. I didn't even know. about low testosterone. I didn't know about certain things that men experience during pregnancy, because it's always about the women. And so I would make sure that you're going to the doctor, make sure that you're having these conversations with your wife about expectations. What are her expectations for you as a partner, as the father of this child, during this duration of what's about to happen? Because I think if you guys have a foundation of the expectations that you guys have, that you won't disappoint each other, and you don't want to break up because you have a child. That should be something that adds on to the love that you have for each other.
For women, that was really good, yeah.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
For women, I would give a few pieces of advice. First, watch your husband. If he's a little bit out of it, don't be afraid to schedule the doctor's appointment with a men's health specialist. Because I watched my husband for my first pregnancy, and it took me a few months of just like noticing that something was really off. And that's when you really want to make sure that you're scheduling his appointment too. As much as you're going to the doctor, you know, no one ever asks the man to go to the doctor. So definitely be paying attention to your spouse. Second, give yourself grace and get a calendar. Pregnancy brain is absolutely real. You will forget and you will miss his 3 to 5 times. So definitely get you a calendar. Don't be afraid to use it, to make sure that you are still meeting, you know, your husband's needs as well. And finally, don't forget yourself. Like when you get that second trimester, first trimester, you're not allowed to do massages or anything like that. You have to be very, very cautious in your first trimester. But when you get to your second trimester, schedule your massages. Your back will hurt. So get your massages done, get your facials done, keep up with your self-care. If you like getting your nails done, non-toxic nails or whatever, like make sure you are scheduling time for yourself, taking time for yourself, and doing as much as you can to pamper and love on yourself during this period, because post-baby, if you're breastfeeding, you kind of feel like a cow for a while, and it takes like 3 years before you really feel back to your body. So you have to really love on yourself in this 9 months, even if you're nauseous and really fatigued. Like, it's just best to remember you are building a whole body in there.
Cheers. Cheers to another successful episode.
Woo, woo.
The question of the week is, did you maintain a healthy sex life during pregnancy?
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next week.